a new edition of the Pick and Downs podcast. I'm your host, per usual, Sean Tyson, here with Zoo and P. Bush. How you guys doing?
Just an absolutely beautiful past few days, man. I mean, we got the Hoosiers going to the Big Ten championship game to face on the Buckeyes. And my hopes might not be as high there, but, maybe we finally beat Ohio State once. But, man, my Super Bowl so far this year was Black Friday with the Bears absolutely dominating the Eagles, old-fashioned Chicago Bears football style, 281 rushing yards. Zoo, you asked us what the identity of this team was, and we both came to you with the same answer, and they showcased exactly why. This team, they got, man, that seventh-round pick, Kyle Monungai, man, was a hell of a find. You're talking about getting a David Montgomery type, right? Maybe even smaller, but in the seventh round, man, and he's outperforming Ashton Jeanty as of late. So, they say you don't get a running back on a bad team high in a draft. You wait for a later one. You develop the O-line. Some teams are better at doing that than others. The Bears just finally got a good year where they built the O-line first, and then they made their decisions, and that's really been benefiting them.
Absolutely. That game did shock me. I have to be honest. It was a shocking result.
Yep.
Like we're seeing them air it out a little more, the Eagles, but they have lost some back-to-back. I'm like very, very surprising losses. That's all I got to say. But at least AJ Brown is happy with his yards.
There you go.
he's that guy that his team loses, but he has a big smile after the game. Like, I got my 100 receiving yards, so he's happy.
Yep. And I know you are because you got him on fantasy. So
yeah. Oh yeah, Super Bowl. Let's go fantasy playoffs, man. AJ Brown, bring me that big smile right now. No matter how bad it does to your team.
We'll say I watched the Bears game because it was a Black Friday game. Side note, nothing to do with the Bears or Eagles. I'm not really a fan of the Black Friday. I just put it on Sunday. I just feel like the NFL stretching it.
Or Saturday even.
Little critique. But yeah, speaking of the Bears, we're going to be talking about the Patriots right now. Two teams that no one, and I mean absolutely no one, thought would be in first place in their respective conferences. And anybody who's claiming that they knew that, maybe they thought it in their head, but they didn't vocalize it. So we have two teams that are on the path to maybe being number one seeds. And I kind of wanted to get the guys' thoughts of which team is more likely to stay in that pole position. And people feel like I know where you're going, maybe, but what do you got here?
Man, this one's so easy, man. And the answer is the New England Patriots. And I got to give a genuine response here. And the only reasoning, man, is the AFC is just not as strong this year. The NFC is a stronger conference. I said this to the guys in the chat when we were talking topics this morning. The Bears could lose to the Packers this week. And obviously with a few other things happening, they could drop all the way to the 7th seed. And then the next week, if they win and other teams lose, they could switch back up to a top 3 seed again. So there's just going to be a lot of flip-flopping through the last 5 weeks of the season that on the Bears side, do I think they have a difficult schedule? Yes. By beating the Eagles, though, and how some of these other teams have been looking, am I as nervous about this stretch of games, 2 Packers games, Browns, Niners, Lions? I think they could go 3-2. If they go 3-2, you're talking about a 12-win season, and even with the situation in the NFC, with how there's some divisional games being played out, especially in the NFC West side, where there's also a lot of contenders, I do think the Bears can still make the playoffs as a potential wild card. The entire season, Zoo, for the NFC North, and we're going to talk about that later, is coming down to those 2 Packers-Bears games, I think. The Lions, man, I don't know what's going on with them. And, they'll probably still be in contention for the wild card, but I've kind of written them off in the division. But I know we're talking first overall seeds here. The Eagles dropping 2 in a row, right? You said it, Zoo. That's a little concerning against 2 teams that are kind of like we're in prove-it mode, right? The Cowboys getting some defensive overhauls. Obviously, we know what the offense can do. They look like a completely different team now, right? So, yeah, exactly. Those trades were huge. I mean, that and supposedly, quote Jerry Jones, he was willing to give a first and Micah for Quinn Williams. That's bullshit. Maybe a first.
He got to be lying.
A first. Or if he wanted to do a Micah for Quinn straight up because of the needs on your team, I could have understood maybe that. But come on, Jerry. You're pushing flowers there, man. But you're not pulling off a deal like that. But on the NFC side, I mean, we know what the Rams are. Shout out to the Panthers, man. That was a hell of a win in tough conditions towards the end of that game. Both on the defensive side, Matt Stafford finally had an off game. And then obviously on the offensive side, sorry, Zoo, you're RB2 in fantasy, man. He might be losing his starting spot now again, man. Rico Dowdle, Chuba Hubbard came back, and he's doing exactly what Rico
I
was
need
doing.
Rico.
Well, otherwise you're starting Woody Marks, man. So
Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus.
Mr. 85 scrimmage yards, but he gets 8.5 points, man, because he only catches one ball out beyond that. So, but on the NFC, I just think that with the amount of flip-flopping that's going to happen, I just can't guarantee the Bears holding that number one spot. But if they do, hey, man, I'll be the happiest dude on the planet. On the Patriots side, their biggest contention is the Broncos. And after that, you're looking at a bunch of 8-4 teams like the Jaguars, the Colts. I don't know if anyone else is 8. Well, the Bills. The Bills might be 8-4 as well. But we've seen the Patriots beat the Bills in Buffalo. And the game left between that head-to-head is obviously in New England. So we know who they can beat, or we know that they beat them. And then they play the Ravens, the Jets, and the Dolphins. I mean, the Ravens, Zoo and I were talking about this, man. Lamar does not look like the same player since that hamstring injury. They will be fighting because they're contending not only for their division, but also for just the AFC playoffs in general. So that game might be close. I'd say between the Bills and Ravens, they might lose one of those two games, whichever way it falls, and then they just clean slate with Jets and Dolphins. So I have them ending 3-1. And you look at the Broncos, who are their biggest contender for the 1 seed. Obviously, the reason the Patriots only have 4 games left, they're on their bye this week. So the Broncos have 5 left. They're technically a half game back of the 1st seed. They do own the tiebreaker, which is something to consider. I guess based on similar head-to-head matchups, they have a higher winning percentage. But, here's my thing, and I got to caveat this because I know you guys thought maybe I'd say Bears, but I'm going Patriots. I will say, though, if the Bears make it through above 500 in this 5 games stretch to end the season, go 3-2 or better, and the Patriots end their season right away, I have a little bit more confidence in the Bears versus the Patriots going into the playoffs because of battle testedness. The Patriots have not really played anybody, and you're talking about their 2 toughest matchups are going to be against the Bills and a hobbling Ravens team. I mean, that's they've had some solid wins. I get it. Maybe the Bucks as well were in there too. But at that point, they were out everybody, right? And we've seen the Bucks falter. They almost lost to the Cardinals, even with Bucky and Godwin back and playing relatively well. So this Patriots team, I get it. They're probably going to get the 1 seed unless the Broncos just win out, who do have a tough schedule. But I just don't think the Patriots are there yet for that push. And I'm sure we'll talk about that when the playoffs come. But I just wanted to caveat that it is important to win the games in front of you. But I'd rather have a battle-tested team going into the playoffs than one that's kind of been coasting, for lack of a better term, towards the end of the season.
Absolutely, because you're looking at both these profiles of these teams, right? Like the Patriots' body of work they've been blowing out teams. Like when they play bad teams, they beat them down. Like Titans, Panthers, these are like 20, 30-point victories. The Browns, these are 20-plus point victories. So pretty much, as you mentioned, they've been just taking care of business. They play a bad team, they kind of just annihilate them and they kind of move on. Because if you look at it on paper, this is one of the best offensive team and the best defensive team all year this year. They have one of their point differential is plus 100 plus right now. In context, the Chicago Bears
plus
is less
7
than a touchdown.
Yep, 6.
So you're looking at the context of the battle testedness. That is true because the Chicago Bears, there've been a lot of weird games where back and forth in the end they were able to clutch it out, and it shouldn't have been that close. Like they had the lead and they kind of blow the game and then they somehow recover. So there's been a lot of those types of games with the Chicago Bears right now. And you gotta say in the NFL, somebody just got to get the W and move on with NFL games because it's really, really hard to win the NFL. And if you're looking at this team right now, like beating the Eagles, that is a phenomenal win. That was just like dropping 24 points against the Eagles and holding them to 15 points
on the road.
Yeah, on the road. And you're talking about in a big-time game where Philadelphia is kind of burned by losing to the Cowboys. Like, this is a big-time game for them also, trying to get back on track. But we're seeing the Chicago Bears defense getting a little more healthier, right? Again, there's some better defensive players back on the corner side of the field. So you're seeing like, okay, that's the biggest thing right now. The defense has not been that good at all this year. So they're getting healthier. We're going to see them more on paper. And as you mentioned, the offense, I got to admit, like, dropping 130 rushing yards and 125 for 2 backs, That's actually absurd.
That is absurd.
Like that is absurd. Like you could really get the running backs in that game 130, 125. You got Saquon with a little measly 56 rushing yards on the other side of the field, man. So I'm telling like the investment in the offensive line
Huge.
was a priority of this offseason. And clearly, like I don't think Swift is that good. Like Monangai might be a decent back, but I don't think he's a great running back. Like they just built this offensive line, and you have a head coach that loves rushing the football and knows the importance of rushing the football. Because as much as this Bears team is winning this well, it's not really because of Caleb Williams. Like
No.
Caleb's even in that win, like he was
In the one good
36.
throw. That one great throw.
Yeah, like one good throw. He had an interception, the QBR less than 50. Like
He missed Rome in that corner.
he's not really carrying this team on offense.
I will defend him here. There were like 35-mile-an-hour winds the whole game, which is why both quarterbacks were just sucking the whole game. But yes, I agree. He missed a lot of easier throws, and that interception was.
I feel like his arm though. He might have a top 5 arm. I don't think any of that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it does matter, but he's got a howitzer.
But that one to Rome, the ball died, and you could just see it right away. But yes, yeah, dude, and he's fine throwing either way. That's the rarity. He can go to boot to his left and throw back across his body. That's the way through to commit.
Yeah, but his numbers this year
exactly
not really like impressive. Like while you look at the other side of the field where Drake May is putting up some of his best numbers ever in his career, so he's really showing that he is kind of the offense right now. Even though like you got Stephon Diggs, you got some players on the other side of the floor, but they don't have an elite offensive talent around them. So
Hunter Henry.
Yeah, Hunter Henry's the elite tight end.
That's it.
You got Cole Kmet and the rookie and Colston Loveland, who I think is going to have a breakout season next year when he becomes more established as a target. Because he is kind of a freak based on his size, his speed. Like he's a viable guy. I feel like in the future years they're going to continue to utilize the tight end a lot more in this offense. So you can look at that on paper. So I got to agree with you. It is the New England Patriots because I still can't believe they're dominating the Buffalo Bills in their division, a division that Buffalo has owned the last half decade. And I'm still shocked that they beat them and they're beating them down. And they're the better team right now because the Bills defense is not that good this year. And Josh Allen, he's not really super. Like he has some of those games where he goes crazy.
He has no one.
Those games. He has those low games where he's just kind of like, ooh, like Josh Allen had some really bad play interceptions, like turnovers. So he's kind of had some pretty low moments this year. Well, Drake May was more of just been very, very steady quarterback this year. So clearly with the new coach and Drake May blossoming in his sophomore year, my God, what he's doing is very, very impressive. But man, both these things in the playoffs, though, like Chicago Bears, you got to make it. As you mentioned, they got to make it.
Yep.
You got to make it right now, right? You can't be blowing, like, you can't be losing like 3 of the last like 4 games. Like, you got to close the deal right now of making the playoffs while Patriots are in. So Patriots are kind of just smooth cruising, not much pressure on them right now. As you mentioned, the AFC, I don't know what's going on in the AFC.
Just the Broncos.
I don't think anybody predicted get the New England Patriots. I know you loved your Broncos this year coming in the season, but I don't know if you expected 10 wins after 13 weeks. Like that is,
I said 11 to 12 for the season. Not
I know. I'm like, you need 10 and 12, right? 10 and 2. They're on a 9-game winning streak with Bo Nix. Like,
these are the the Bears won 8 in a row.
Yeah. So you're talking about that situation over there is like, as you mentioned, Baltimore completely injured. Jacksonville Jaguars, they're leading the division now. Danny Dimes kind of. Jonathan Taylor, that offense.
And he's hurt too.
Yeah. So that offense kind of regressed after that insane start. So we're like, what great teams are in the AFC? I don't really honestly know right now because the teams I expected to be great, they have not been great.
You didn't mention someone else, man. Come on. Say it. Say their name, man. Say their name.
Yeah, not going to lie.
Eisenberg. No, sorry. The Chief, man.
Yeah, not gonna lie, they ain't scaring nobody this year. They ain't the one who knocks this year, man.
No,
6-6, 500. My futures bet on them winning the conference championship, looking like going to go straight down to 0 because they may not even make the playoffs. They got to win out right now to make the play. They got to win out to be matching with the New England Patriots in wins right now. So, my goodness, like this AFC conference, I have no idea what is going on right now. So Patriots take advantage of the situation. Chicago Bears still got a lot more work to do because, as you mentioned, those 2 Packers games might decide your fate in the playoffs, even making it. So because the Lions are still there, like I think that's still a really, really good football team offensively. So
yeah, exactly. There you go.
Defense is their defense is what has me a little out on the. Like I said, I still got one foot in the door. I'm still holding the door open with the Lions, but the defense is what. And honestly, bro, like the offense doesn't look like last year. And if you're an avid watcher of the Detroit Lions, most people would point to the offensive coordinator because you got the same players. And Gibbs, you could argue, is better this year. So I don't know why the offense isn't just even more explosive or just as Jameson's came on. So you would think the offense. Now I know Laporta, he's been out with the last couple of weeks or whatever, and he's out for the season. So maybe that changes it, but their offense just doesn't look as explosive. It's still good, and the defense has regressed. So yeah, and that's kind of surprising because Dan Campbell and just his toughness and stuff. But I'm with you. It's a clean sweep for the Patriots. And this is really just schedule and just going through the Patriots schedule. I do kind of side with you, P-Bush, because just looking at this schedule, this feels, and I don't know what the Commanders' schedule was last year, but I mean, just looking at the Patriots this year, like Raiders at the beginning, I mean, we know the Raiders. Dolphins was out. Steelers, I guess you could say at that moment was okay. Carolina, early in the season, they were just like, not at that time. Buffalo, credit. Saints, Titans, Browns, Falcons, Bucks, but injured maybe. Jets, Bengals. They ain't beat nobody, y'all. They ain't beat nobody. So it kind of feels like they are taking care of business.
Yep.
And it feels like, oh, okay, even the teams that you're beating or whatever, you're beating them down. But I'm very interested for like that Buffalo game, and I want to see what that spread is because I almost want to hammer Buffalo.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's a game where Josh Allen is going to do whatever it takes to win that game, considering they lost the first one. Because you're like, it's almost like you got hit in the face, like, oh, I didn't know you could punch like that. Because it's the Patriots. You just thought you was going to be – they probably sleepwalk that game. I'd almost want to guarantee that's a Buffalo win just to, like, prove, like, okay, like, we're locked in, we're focused. Yeah, that would be a huge win for them. Yeah. And then even – I'm still picking the Patriots to end up being the number one seed because, like you just said, I mean, you got the Packers twice. That kind of just eliminates you. But I won't say that it's by a lot that the Bears could not get number one versus the New England Patriots get number one because – if you just look at the Patriots, like the Ravens more than likely are still kind of be in the mix. So they're going to be fighting, and it's at Baltimore. And then Miami is 5-7. Like, that's the end of the season.
AFC this year? Yeah.
But, like, if they win their next one or two games, they could be still fighting for something. So, obviously, yeah, you look at the Bears, you just got the Packers twice. That's a tough. That's automatically going to put you in a space where, okay, they're probably not going to get the number one seed. But if they keep playing the way they're playing, and like you said with the Eagles, most would consider their defense and offense are like top 5 in the league. And being able to control the game running the ball, I do agree with people. It's like that's just good. They're going to be battle tested, of course, just with their division alone. But the other teams that they played, that's going to be a recipe for success. Because in the playoffs, it does change. And there's just not a game I've seen this year with the Patriots that it's like, oh, that's a great win. Yeah, Buffalo at the beginning of the season, but I almost would, and I hate when people say this because I criticize people that say this, but it's like, oh, I wasn't ready, like I was sleepwalking. It's just like, no, you came into the game, you was ready to play, and you just got beat. But you could maybe make that argument if you're the Buffalo Bills because it's like they played that game at the very beginning of the season, so nobody was looking at the Patriots like, oh, they're going to be good, especially with Drake May kind of being like, quote unquote, a first year starter. So I do agree that the Patriots more likely are going to be it. Because also I feel with like Denver, they're really good, but like who do you have more confidence in, Denver or New England? I don't know because I'm not a fan of Bo Nix.
I give the tip to the offense. The Broncos have had way better wins this year, but they're also just a more complete team. I think if Dobbins was healthy, I think this is an easy choice. I would go Broncos, but RJ Hart, I mean, he had a great game, but it was 2 touchdowns. Yeah. So, like, and they do have good wide receivers. I mean, Sutton and Franklin are both solid. Evan Ingram finally showed up a little bit on Sunday night, but their defense is better than the Patriots.
But the Patriots
Yeah, and
defense is pretty good too.
But it's still good. Yeah, exactly.
Because like I think the Patriots offense is also pretty good. Broncos offense,
But the Broncos they're putting up a little bit less points, but against way better competition. Yeah.
I think if they were to match up, I think the Broncos would give Drake May a little bit more trouble than the Patriots would give Bo.
Agreed.
Just because Sean Payton's
Sean
teaming up
Payton.
versus,
Yep.
I guess it would be Josh McDaniels or whatever. And I just think Drake May with that defense. I think Vance Joseph or whoever's the D coordinator, they got some dudes on Denver. So I think I would maybe lean that way, but who knows? Like I said, just by default, I would say the Patriots. But speaking of divisions and who's going to be winners, just kind of browsing the potential playoff picture, and looking at different divisions. Just wanted to limit it to 3 races: the AFC South, NFC South, and NFC North. Kind of just wanted to get the guys' opinions on, these divisions, and basically I phrased it in the questioning of like life is on the line. You have to pick a division winner. Zoo, you can go ahead and start us off. AFC South, which I feel like is the most difficult.
AFC South, man. If my life was on the line right now, I'd be having a heart attack with this decision. Because my Lord, I have no idea. Because as you know, I've been going on a roller coaster with this division. Because going into the season, I was very high on the Jacksonville Jaguars, and then I watched some Trevor Lawrence, and then God damn, that was ugly to watch. And then they rip a 3-game winning streak. It's like, oh, they got some pretty good wins. Not because of really a T-Law, but because of all the other players. Like Jacoby Myers came in that trade. He looks pretty good. Like he looks pretty good. And obviously he beat down the Titans. That's kind of whatever. But I thought that Chargers game was very, very impressive. Like completely annihilating the Chargers. Like Justin Herbert. Like it's not Justin Herbert missed the game. Like they helped that team to 6 points. And even though they had a bunch of injuries, like holding Justin Herbert to 6 points is an amazing accomplishment. So this is a team that I've been on and off about. Colts, you know me with Danny. I'm just not I will never be a Danny Dimes guy, man. I will never be a Danny Dimes guy.
Cute stories.
He is cute story. Vikings of last year, Sam Darnold last year were just shrinking. Like he might be a solid guy, but the dude regresses in big moments. And as you mentioned, Danny Dimes in some of these bigger games where he has to throw them in the game. When Jonathan Taylor is not ripping 80-yard touchdowns every single game, it's a lot harder to play football, right? Like I still remember that when Jonathan Taylor ripped those consistent 50-yard run touchdowns, that is not sustainable. Like we saw Saquon kind of did a lot last year, and that's just not sustainable having those ridiculous runs because that's just kind of like, oh, there's a hole there. He takes advantage of the mistake and gets it done. Because when that offense isn't just rolling on Jonathan Taylor's shoulders, in the last couple of weeks, we've shown that when JT's not rolling, that offense is kind of even though they have a good line, got solid receivers, like without Jonathan Taylor carrying the load, like he's probably their most valuable offensive player, like position. That dude carries that offense. Without him, they're kind of just a whatever ordinary team. So I'm not really too impressed with them. And the Texans, that is another really, really weird team because that defense is hellacious. Like what is I'm like, wow. Man. And was that Anderson guy? I don't know many defensive players, but this Anderson guy,
Will Anderson.
He really jumps out of the TV. Like I'm like, ooh, he came into the quarterback really easily because if you look at this Texans team, I'm like, if you imagine a team losing their starting quarterback for a lot of games and CJ Stroud and be like, okay, the season's over. No, David Mills comes in, got Nico Collins going. A couple 100-yard games. Thank you very much. As a Nico Collins.
Take that same.
We have like David Mills, like, he gave him 10 targets. He's force-feeding the best players. They're like, okay, the offenses look like some of those CJ Stroud-led offenses in the beginning of the year were kind of abysmal. Very hard to move the ball, even to the midfield line. Rarely in the red zone. The rushing game is non-existent. But David Mills kind of kept them afloat and showed like that he had some really, really big wins. Like, I'm just like, man, if you look at some of these wins, like I remember when that stood out was like the Jacksonville Jaguar game, we dropped 36 points. He beat the Titans. That's kind of whatever. But beating the Bills and the Colts, I'm like, that is just pretty impressive. Those are some pretty impressive wins for a team where I'm like, the first couple, like, if you guys forgot the first 3 weeks, they were 0-3. They scored 9 points against the Rams, lost to the Bucks, and lost to the Jaguars, scored only 10 points. So I'm just like, they had a really, really slow start. So they kind of saved their season coming in now because they're 7-5. They're only a game back of them, which is crazy to say.
With a lot of divisional games left.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. Yeah. So this division could really go any other way. But if my life is on the line, I'll be praying real hard. But I'm keeping with my original pick coming in the year. The Jacksonville Jaguars are winning this division. The Houston, I don't understand the Houston Texans offense for me, and Danny Dimes. Even though Danny Dimes and Trevor Lawrence, they're kind of the same guy, like just both mediocre quarterbacks.
One's $250 million though.
I know that's true. One is a more expensive mediocre quarterback. But I got to give credit to the Jacksonville defense. Like, they create a lot of plays on the other side, but special teams defense has been pretty impressive this year. I was like, even though like the ETN kind of slowed down last week, but he's been running the ball extremely effective. Tootin's been a nice backup running back. So they got Brenton Strange back into it, and he's
that's another X factor.
One thing about T-Law, I know he loves his tight ends.
Yep,
it's a big, nice, easy target as a safety net because it's definitely not Brian Thomas Jr. right now. It's Brenton Strange comes in.
I don't think that's not.
He just comes directly in and becomes like a pretty important contributor to this offense right now. So yeah, I'm gonna keep it the Jacksonville Jaguars, but I do not have much faith right now because this is a true Russian roulette wheel right now. Because I don't know, man. Because Texans, Colts, Jaguars, any one of these teams win this sorry division right now.
Wow. I'm actually I'll keep it because you hit a lot there, Zoo, and I completely agree. I think Brenton Strange coming back is huge for that offense. As a dynasty shareholder on a $1 4-year contract, it's absolutely beautiful to see. With the T-Law matching contract, just in case he actually does something. But the thing about the Jaguars and Colts is they play each other. They still have both of their head-to-heads. And I think that is we were just talking about how the Bears and Packers is a huge one. And I think if the Bears split that, it's a win for them. If the Packers split, it's a lose for them, right? I think also being back in like 0.2, however they score a tie. But the thing with the Texans is they kind of get to just like sit back and watch these two teams beat up each other, which is huge, right? And I think if they split, if the Jaguars and Colts split, the Texans are the biggest beneficiary of that. Because I'm sorry, you look at their schedule, the Texans, the Chiefs, the Cardinals, the Raiders, the Chargers, and then the Colts. I hate to say this, but that they could go 5-0 in that stretch. They have held better offenses to worse performances than the Chiefs. So I know Rashee Rice. I'm a huge shareholder. I want him to have a good game. Have your game, man. But I think the Texans, look what they did. I mean, they still gave up points to the Colts, right?
Yeah.
To your point, Daniel Jones, I can't even really hate on Danny Dimes for that game because he was playing against the best defense in the league in the Texans. So, that's why I can't knock on him too much. And he's apparently got a fractured fibula, which I'm sure can't be pleasant with Bill Anderson running down your face. But on the Texans side, I think Stroud kind of was like, oh shit, I got to pull my crap together, man, because Davis Mills looked better than him than Stroud was before the concussion. So he's getting Nico more involved. I really like his involvement with Jaden Higgins. I think that was a big thing that I drafted Jaden Higgins at the beginning of the season. One, thinking this offense would be a little bit more prolific. Not into fruition, but I also thought that they would get him involved a little bit earlier than they did. But now, he's starting to get a lot more looks, a lot more targets. I think they're in games where they know they have to throw the ball, especially now that they know they don't have a bell cow at all. Nick Chubb is not who he was. He's turned into kind of a poor man's Kareem Hunt a little bit.
Yep.
And Woody Marks, he's the Jerick McKinnon back, right? Maybe a little bit better than a Jerick McKinnon, but they don't really have a
not much, man. They have not much in the back.
Yeah, so I think their passing game is going to have to step up. So I just think with the way the Texans play football, they can win any game because of their defense. I don't have that faith in the Colts defense. And even though the Jags have been pretty good defensively, a lot of their really good performances have been against crappy teams other than the Los Angeles Chargers. So I think I have more faith in Texans because this team has been to the playoffs before. Sure, so has Trevor Lawrence, but I don't know. Liam Cohen's a great coach. I think they're going to be a lot better next year. Zoo, maybe you were just a year early, man.
I'm with P. Bush. The Texans, I will almost want to go on a limb and say if they beat Kansas City, I think they run the table. I think there's a real possibility.
Wow.
Because then the only reason why I get a little nervous because of CJ Stroud, and it's just crazy to say because he was the starter. But to your point, Zoo, Davis Mills was cooking up. I kind of almost wanted to see, you can't do it because he's a franchise quarterback, CJ. No. You can't. But it's
Don't
like
say
you
it.
kind of just wanted to see what he was going to do against
I
Kansas
know.
City, because if like he were to go on the road and still be putting up the same numbers and they look good and beat Kansas City, is like, and that's probably why they didn't do it, because then CJ would have to sit on the bench. You can't then bring CJ back after they beat Kansas City and be like, oh yeah, you're our quarterback now. So it's like CJ, played the playoffs I think last year or maybe the year before that.
2 years.
I think it was last year when they played at Kansas City. So he will have that lay of the land, and like I said, it's another do or die game for Kansas City. So we'll see how that goes. But I think if they can get through that clean, that defense is just the epitome of what you want with their head coach and their defensive end, just synonymous. Like they're both on the same page. Like there's a reason why he picked him as high as he did. He kind of knew that was going to be the linchpin. I even remember Will Ederson when he was in at Alabama. He was a very high character guy. Like it's just what you want your defensive leader to be. And it's not just him. They got a lot of other dudes that I can't name right now off the top of my head, but
Stingley.
it just kind of feels like with how they're playing, and Davis Mills, like I said, giving him all the credit because he was able to keep it afloat. They not only, I think, could win this division, like you don't want to see them in the playoffs. I don't think you want any parts of them. The only weak spot I feel like they have is running back. That's the only weak spot. But like if they could just be
a little
like
bit in their O line too. Yep.
Yeah. If they could just be like serviceable going down the stretch where it's like maybe they can find a rhythm with one of those two backs, then that's just a team where it's like, I don't know, because that defense is going to, like we say, but I think they're on par with Denver and I guess to a lesser extent the Patriots. But yeah, I'm with you guys. Or with people at least. I think the Texans have a real clear shot to putting this division. I will say I'll hear the argument with Jacksonville, because Jacksonville just feels like a team. It's like they just know how to win, and you can't pinpoint it, because it's really hard to pinpoint why they're so good. Their defense is good, right? But like Trevor Lawrence is not whatever. Travis Etienne has been great, but like he's not a game breaker. And the receiving corps has just been a mash unit up and down. Britton Strange has been the only consistent part. He's been injured. So to me, that screams that they just know how to win. And sometimes teams that know how to do that is probably they're just going to end up lucking their way and figuring out, not luck, but like will have it that they're just going to win their games and win the division. So I'm not mad either. I'm going with Texas. Yeah. And what it's going to do too, also, like if Zoo's point comes true, it's going to, people who are in the Trevor Lawrence camp are going to be like, he just wins. He just knows how to win. He's a mediocre quarterback, but he knows how to win. He just has that it factor. And that's going to be a thing. That's going to be the thing. So, yeah, that's where I'm leaning with that. But we can go into the NFC South. NFC South, I'll start with that. The Bucks are weird because they're not a mash unit, but it feels like they're kind of hitting a wall a little bit. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I think they won this past weekend, didn't they? I'm not sure.
Yes, they barely beat the Cardinals.
Yeah. So, and I kind of want to attribute that to the injuries that they've had on both sides of the ball. Like they say, gun to my head, I'm picking the Bucks, but man, my heart really wants to pick the Panthers, just because if you just go look throughout their schedule and who they play, it really is the classic case of they play up and down the competition. Like they beat all the good teams, and then the bad teams they just kind of mail it in. And most would say that's because of Bryce. They would say Bryce has been up and down, he's been whatever, but it says something to me that when it is a big game, and people will say, well, the Rams had to fly across the country and it's a classic like jet lag. Okay, whatever. But there's other teams that they beat that were, I guess, upper echelon that were good. That it's like, okay, I can see how they got through that game.
Packers.
But I will say, just if you watch the game and just the game script and how it unfolded, like Bryce was making a lot of clutch throws against the Rams defense that we all consider as, I mean, I guess you would say it's maybe on the close to the level of the Texans, but it's a really good defense. It's a really good defense. They got rush-ins and a couple good corners. So, and just looking at their schedule, it's like, I don't know. Like, I mean, New Orleans, yeah. Like, at New Orleans, it's a division game. You can't always take it for granted, but I think they can get that one. Like, you got Tampa Bay two out of those last 3 weeks. I don't think, unless Seattle's just resting starters, which I don't know if they can because their division ain't wrapped up, but that's going to be a tough one. Even though I guess you could say that would be at Bank of America. But I don't know, man. I think Tampa Bay, Baker is the reason why I'm leaning. Like I feel comfortable with them being the division winner because it's Baker. but I don't know. I kind of want to pick the Panthers, man. Because Bryce showed me something in that Rams game. And it's like
Yeah,
you look
that's
down the
crazy.
stretch, dude. If they can just get, because that first game in Tampa Bay is at home. If they can get clean through New Orleans and they beat that Bucks, I think if they can beat them at home in week 16, they get them in week 18. Because then the Bucks, I don't know where they would be positioned. They're probably still, I don't know what the division records are, but they're maybe still in the division race, which they probably would be. I don't know. It's just Bryce showed me something, and it does it. And I get why people are like, oh, he's an Alabama guy, he's an Alabama kid, like he knows how to play in big moments. That does matter, and I think he's been up and down because I just think his size sometimes limits him, and he's just it's just some games where he's just overmatched, and if the offensive line is not protecting, he's not going to be able to escape and see over the line and get footballs out quick. But that Rams game is skewing this a lot, and the fact that they've also beat a lot of good teams, so.
Well,
I'm just gonna go with. I'll go with Carolina. Just gonna go with
wow.
Carolina. Screw it. Life on the line. Screw it.
Huh?
Screw it.
I would say I'm going to go with the Bucks. I mean, they're up a
Yeah.
half game. The Panthers are on their
Yeah.
bye. I think the Bucks play who? Do they play the Saints this week? I mean,
I think
you
so.
put them up. You put them up a full game. Now they do face off twice. To your point,
Yeah.
Sean, and I think the first one that you meant it's in Tampa, and then they go back to Carolina in Week 18.
No, it's in Week 16 is Carolina, and then Tampa's the finale.
This game, this division could come down to that game. I mean, it will come down to that game. It will come down to Week 18, where they'll be doing when the Lions and Packers did that a few years ago, I think.
Yeah.
I just have more faith in a team that is only getting healthier.
Healthy.
Right, Bucky Irving. I'm sorry, they were like, "Oh, we're gonna limit his workload." I'm like,
yeah.
And then I decided, dude, I don't know if you saw, I had him out on my bench there early in the week and towards midweek, and then I was like, I'm not buying that. You guys are gonna play, and then you're gonna get him his touchdown for his mental health because he was down and out. And shout out Bucky, you made it through, man, and thank you for the touchdown. But I just think, and then Godwin has actually looked pretty solid. I mean, he's actually taken a few licks too, so it's good to see that he's like still okay to get physical. Cade Otton, he's Cade Otton, whatever. Rashad White really fell off. Sean Tucker is a good complimentary back.
Sean Tucker's good.
He's good, man, and I think in certain situations Rashad is fine. So they do have versatility there. Obviously, we all know how much of a beast Tristan Wirfs is, and the majority of that O-line. But, man, Baker, he's looking to scramble a lot this year. And we talked about this earlier in the year when we were like, oh, are they legit? He's putting himself in some dicey situations, and he got a sprained shoulder out of it, right? And,
Like Jackson Dart.
okay, well, that guy, man, he can't I'm not even going to touch on it. He doesn't deserve it in this conversation. But I just think Baker needs to get the ball more. Now, I've heard rumblings. I don't know if this is true. If Mike Evans is coming back,
They're talking about end of year. Mike Evans is going to come back. That's what they're saying.
By the end of the year, right? Like I think
like
week
playoffs
17,
or
maybe
week 18.
Well, maybe right before playoffs.
And to your point,
Interesting.
to our point, if it comes down to week 18 and Mike Evans, he's pissed off that he lost his 1,000-yard streak, man, and now he's only tied with Jerry Rice. He's not losing that game, and he will put the team on his shoulders with everyone else getting healthy too. So I love it. I shout out Panthers. They could fight for wild card, but I think the only way either one of these teams,
I think they got to get division.
is the division. So maybe they're ascending. Sean, you can only see progress with them, but I think they're coming up just short this year.
Yeah, it's crazy because watching seeing that Panthers game against the Rams, I was like, what is going on? Because I think
look
like
boy.
Rams, I think, is probably the best team in football right now. Offensively, defensively, the way Matthew Stafford plays, probably MVP. You got elite receivers, Devontae having a touchdown season, pretty much prime Devontae Adams and Puka's the studs. With Kyron Williams, who is having a good season again, and that Rams defense is ridiculously good. And what Bryce Young did to that defense, I'm like, my God, 3 touchdowns, 200 yards. I'm like, on 75% completion percentage. That is really,
that's
really
the
impressive.
75
in weather.
Yeah, I'm like QBR of 86 against this Rams team. I'm like, that is really, really impressive. And Stafford did have one of his off games where he threw a couple of picks. So that's why they lost the game. But Bryce Young offensively led that team. I was like, he has some nice So that nice dime to I think Coker for the touchdown, and it was like
On fourth down.
yeah, I was like, ooh, okay, that's a nice looking throw right there. He still looks miniature on the field and looks kind of like his build is kind of like me, which is crazy. He's playing like the NFL QB position. Like he just looks so normal and average. But shout outs to Bryce Young. Like he's really showing. Okay, he was the number 1 pick. Slow start, but he's showing that that's just impressive. It's very, very impressive doing that to a Rams team where I have all the like adulations for. Like that's an elite football team. So it definitely surprised me a little more than because they had some really, really bad games at the beginning of the year where I kind of just wrote off the Panthers as just a bad team. But they're really showing something right now. But I'm gonna still go with the Bake Show, as you mentioned. It's just them getting healthy. Like the only reason this Buccaneers team is just all these injuries keep like lingering. Like every single skill position guy now, Baker in, like everybody keeps getting injured this team, but as you mentioned, people are getting healthier. Hopefully Baker could play through his injury and it's not too serious. Like Bucky Irving's a real asset for this offense. Chris Godwin's back, even though he had that bad drop last week. Like all the weapons are getting healthier now. And I gotta say it, Emeka Egbuka, man, I'm watching out for you, man. I haven't seen you in a while.
I told you you would regress.
Yeah, he did regress, but like a lot. Like he's
Below the mean.
Yeah, like below the mean right now, where he's kind of like a big factor in the offense right now, where he's not making the big plays that he was doing at the beginning of the year, where that was obviously not sustainable because the dude got like a touchdown every single game. So you're not expecting that, but I was expecting this where he's just getting like 40 yards, 50 yards, not being like focused in the offense and not being a big playmaker right now. But I still think he's an elite talent that they got to use more of him because like Mike Evans is still on the bench right now. Like they don't have that big play guy that can get touchdowns. Godwin's older, come back from injury. So they need that guy to get Bake Show going on the aerial assault right now because the Bake Show relying on his legs, not sustainable.
No,
but he's going to have to do it for them to buy time to try to win this another sorry division, right?
Man,
it's a sorry. Like if you look at any other division,
the Tom Brady years.
Yeah, I'm looking at this division. I'm just like, you got the Saints in there. That's a bye week. And you got Atlanta where, oh Lord, like Atlanta is just not a good football team either. So you're looking at Tampa Bay, Carolina, the battle of the mid teams right now. Get your 9 or maybe your 9-10 wins you're in right now. So yeah, make the playoffs just because your division is not the best. Take advantage.
Very opposite of the NFC North.
I'm about to say, I don't know, man.
This you guys said the AFC South, and I agree, but I agree only because I think they're just a bunch of like slightly above average teams overall. I think we said this last week. I think the Packers are not at the level that we thought they were going to be going into this season. I thought Micah Parsons was going to be doing what Myles Garrett's doing with that bum team up in Cleveland, man. I swear to God, like, dude, watching him play, man, he deserves to be somewhere else. Because that is he's a Lawrence Taylor level impact. I shouldn't say Lawrence Taylor. That's disrespectful. J.J. Watt. I would put him on the slight tier below that.
Yeah.
J.J. Watt. His impact on the game is ridiculous. And I think all three of us thought Micah would be that player for the Packers. Now he's still having a great season, but I thought the Packers just haven't. They've had some really good wins. Like that win against the Lions on Thanksgiving was a very good win.
That's their best win to me. Yeah.
Hell of a play call by Matt LaFleur to end that game on that fourth down. Honestly, the catch was the most impressive part.
Yeah, which
it was Dontavian. He had a hell of a game too.
Yeah, he had a great game.
Christian Watson has really come on. I'm loving that. Got to get that waiver wire.
He's not big playability. Like he's big playability.
Big playability, and Romeo Doubs. These guys are stepping up where Tucker Kraft was really filling in.
Oh yes, massive.
In the mid part of the season, and then he went out with the torn ACL. So, Josh Jacobs, man, he's just consistent. He's a guaranteed like 15 points in fantasy. He'll give you 90 yards on 20 carries, probably in a touchdown.
In the red zone, man.
The red zone.
He eats in the red zone.
The red zone, and he's huge for just game management because you can run the clock with him. That's all you need out of a good running back, especially come playoff time. But this Packers team has had some horrible losses. Yeah. Horrible. The Browns,
Browns.
we just gave laurels to Bryce Young, but when the Panthers played him a few weeks ago, that was not the same team that we saw this past week.
Yep. No, that was a terrible loss.
Terrible loss, and more so not because of the defense. The defense did their job. They I think it was 13-10 against the Browns, and then what?
13-10. 16-13 against the Panthers.
There you go.
The defense is doing their job. The offense did not get it done.
Against average defense. Well, I shouldn't say the Browns are a good defense, but as a good
Very
offense,
good defense.
you should be able to at least do something. And I put that on the offensive line. I thought in both of those games they got a lot of pressure on Jordan Love. Obviously, we know I already mentioned Josh Jacobs, but I think the Packers win the division, and I do think the tie is going to fall into their favor because of that. And the reason is I think they split with the Bears. I really do. But
that's fair.
But the Bears then have to go play two other playoff teams in the 49ers and the Lions. The Browns game will be interesting. They could easily get destroyed, but I just don't trust the Browns offense. So I think the Bears win that game still. I think they split between the Niners and Lions. If that happens, they go 3-2, right, which puts them at 12-5. But with the Packers, they play. Let's see, I'm looking at it right here. They play Chicago twice, the Broncos, the Ravens, and Minnesota. I think if the Broncos, I think they beat the Broncos, and I think that's one of the big losses for the Broncos on the AFC side, which we already talked about. But if they beat the Broncos, then they're wiping the Ravens, and then they're wiping Minnesota. That's an obvious one. So they're finishing the season 4-1, right, which puts them at 12-4-1 compared to the Bears 12-5. And so that I literally think it's going to come down to that. But to my point, if either team sweeps the
head-to-head, it's over.
It's over. And then just quickly on the Lions, I don't even think I wrote down who the Lions play. Yeah. Cowboys, Rams, Steelers, and then Minnesota, Chicago. Like I said, the Bears could beat them. I think they bounce back off that destroying earlier this year. Cowboys, Rams, and the Steelers, man, one thing you got to give Steelers credit for, I thought they could stop the run, and then James Cook did what he did, and now he's almost caught up to JT on rushing yards, which we didn't mention. But Jahmyr Gibbs is probably going to feast against them, so that's kind of a toss-up game for me. It just depends on how Goff plays. So, but they're pretty much 2 games back at first, so they're already dug themselves a little bit of a hole. So that's why
Detroit Lions are in a must-win situation where they have to beat the Cowboys for them to have an opportunity.
But even then, they have to go 4-1 to even probably compete with the Bears.
Yeah.
So,
No. Yeah, no.
I go Packers, Bears, Lions, and the tie is what helped them. If the Cowboys beat them, they might actually have flipped with the Bears. But man. So taking the Packers, man.
Yeah, great answer, because that's my answer too. Because I think in the beginning of the year, I'm not gonna change her now, especially in a situation where it's a 50-50 coin flip with the Chicago Bears right now in these two head-to-head matchups. Because those are the only games I care about, the head-to-head matchups right now, because Broncos game, that's gonna be tough. Ravens, Vikings, who knows after that. But for me, it's gonna be decided in the next 3 weeks when they have an opportunity to play this team twice, once at the Chicago, once at home. And for me, I'm just like, this is a team that you historically been dominating. So let's keep up the tradition, Jordan Love. Let's keep up the tradition. Got that bad man Aaron Rodgers. Jordan Love, let's keep the tradition against the team, even though they're trying to turn the page right now of a bad franchise to a new franchise with a new head coach where he got charisma, man. Like, he's got the people hyped, even though they win these games that they're not supposed to. So, I got to give props to their record. Like, this is a 9-3 football team with a +6 differential. So you're just winning these close football games, and that includes an absolute blowout. If you remember with the
exactly. So 31 of that,
yeah, exactly. So they made up a lot of ground after that loss there. So for me, obviously, Green Bay right now, they're technically behind them right now, like 8-3-1. They're 9-3. So Packers, I expect 2-0 against the Bears. Let's take care of business.
And let's remember, Zoo, they flexed this one to primetime afternoon this coming weekend, and if you heard, they flexed Week 16 to Sunday Night Football.
Oh, they did Sunday night. Wow.
Yep. Yeah. And that one's in Chicago.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's gonna be playoff atmosphere with these types of
games.
Yeah. We're going to decide your faith in the playoffs. So winning this NFC North division right now my goodness, you couldn't have read this story any better. Like 1-2 right now. Who would have we were very bullish on the Bears like this year
with 9 wins.
Yeah. I was like 9. I was like, I remember I had Packers 1, and I remember it was between the Bears and Lions. I slightly put the Bears over the Lions because of the head coaching change with the Lions and the obviously addition of the Chicago Bears. But 9-3, way better record than I thought right now.
Yep.
Honestly, what they're doing is they're winning these close games. And okay, Caleb, you got to prove yourself against the Packers defense, because all I got to say about Caleb is when he plays great defenses, he doesn't really do anything.
Yep.
Like he has just like really statistically bad games. Obviously, you could keep relying on the run, but if you're going to make the playoffs, you can't just be running the football. Where you need to have balance on the offensive side of the field. And I know that's their identity, but that can't be your only identity in the playoffs, because that just makes you easy to guard, right?
Yep.
Like the defense focus on the run and make Caleb beat you down the field. A guy like DJ Moore, where I'm just like,
he's got a lot of game-winning drives this year, though, that he's been bringing him on.
Okay, we'll see in the playoffs, but I don't know, these elite defenses like Packers. Let's ball out against Caleb Williams right now. Let's ball.
We beat him last year in Lambeau without Micah, obviously. Do it, Sean.
I kind of feel like I'm looking at the Packers schedule. Like, yeah, they got to play the Bears twice, but like at Denver, and I still think with Baltimore, like, they're going to be fighting to get into the playoffs. So I don't chop that up as just they're going to get that. The only easy game I feel like is the Vikings, versus when I look at the Bears, is like San Fran. I think they could win that game because San Fran's had kind of, I feel like, an easy schedule, kind of like the Patriots. And I just don't think they're good. They're all banged up. And I think Brock Purdy, I've always thought he's okay. And now he's limited with his injury. Now, if they were playing Mac Jones, maybe it's different, because Mac Jones actually played well this year. And even in that Detroit, like if Detroit's kind of whatever, like who knows what they are in week 18? Like maybe they're even, I mean, they could be in the playoffs or fighting for the playoffs, or they could just tailspin. Who knows? Like, I just feel like it in this Cleveland, and like, so you got Green Bay twice. I just am a big fan, and I keep going back to this, like the running game, and I think the Bears are number 1 in takeaways. Now that's a stat that could fluctuate, but like it tells me that normally teams, at least this deep in the season, when they're that high in takeaways, it's like this is what they're going to be more than likely for the rest of the season, because they're just figuring it out. Because that is a volatile stat. Like, it's kind of, you shouldn't ever, for me, I don't ever really try to factor that in, because it is kind of just like happenstance. But there are, I will say, if you see that stat of being like, say, your top 5 in takeaways for the last 7 years, then I do take that into consideration, because it's like, okay, you're doing something in practice or whatever that's different. But like year to year, I'm just like, whatever. But again, I keep thinking with just how Caleb Williams plays, like he's doing what Ben Johnson wants him to do. And to your point, like if they were like 7 and whatever, and like they had some tough losses because he didn't lead them, you know, on a game-winning drive, or if he just was messing up and threw a crucial interception, I'd be on a game-winning drive. I'd be like, you know, Caleb's just kind of getting by. Like, he'd be like, oh, he's a Jag plus, like just a guy, whatever. But the fact that he's playing within the system and they're winning these games, it just feels like he's slowly, I mean, he's still in year 2, year 2. He's maturing, and I think it's just a really good sign that when you do see stuff like a game-winning drive and he doesn't have the stats, or you do see things where there's a couple plays a game where he makes wild throws, it gives me confidence that even though this is still a part of their maturation process, like just like we saw with Jaden last year, like he flew through the entire season. He didn't look like Jaden Daniels, of course. But also, if you go look at who his offensive coordinator is, it's Cliff Kingsbury, who likes to air it out. So it's a little bit of different philosophy. Ben Johnson is just, I mean, he had Gibbs and all of them, and I guess I think it kind of gave off the illusion like he's just like, it's always like as a side note, it always comes back to like when you think about the guys like McVay and Kevin O'Connell, like people always talk about those young, the up and coming coaches. Like, but if you look at like LaFleur and Shanahan, like, they're a part of that tree too, but they love to run the football. That's why I think with Jordan Love a little bit is like he's been limited, because LaFleur, if it was up to him, he would run it 30 times a game and throw it like 15. That's just same thing with Shanahan. So I think with Ben Johnson, I'm not saying he's that extreme, but I think with Caleb, he wants him playing within the system. And it just gives me confidence that I think they could, now nobody's excusing how this rivalry has gone. Like, yes, I understand completely. Like the Packers have just dominated, whether it's been up and down, whatever. They've dominated the the rivalry. But I will say that if there's a year where I could see it maybe being shifted, it could be this year, only because of how Caleb's playing. Like, I don't think he's going to go out there and just try a bunch of stuff and turn the ball over. And I think their running game is for real. So with the Packers, if you're telling me their philosophy with how, like, their only X factor, in my opinion, is Christian Watson. If he can stay on the field, then I really do think that the Packers have another gear to get to, because that's part of why I felt like not only the philosophy with the Packers, but why they were limited, is because they just didn't have that downfield threat. Christian Watson that we saw on Thanksgiving, and I felt like he had another big game on. Did he have a big game last year on Thanksgiving? I felt like, or maybe a couple years ago. I feel like he's always had like a big catch on Thanksgiving, but it just feels like he is their X factor. So if he comes to play and is healthy, then yeah, it might be tougher. But I just am more impressed with the Bears and how they just go about their offense, and their defense is good.
Kevin Byard. I said it in the chat, man. He's the best free safety in the league right now. Best free safety in the league, Kevin Byard on the Bears.
Defense is very solid. Like, I don't know.
He's leading the league in picks, I'm pretty sure. And that I'm just saying, like, Christian Watson. I don't think he gets a ball. I don't think that, like, nobody's really been testing the Bears down the field like that. Even A.J. Brown, he didn't have any of that, except for the one, and then he mossed him. And that was a hell of a catch.
It kind of feels like this is the classic, like, you got to, and I probably should have picked this division, because it really is, you got to see it to believe it. The Bears do have to go prove it, because logic tells you just to pick the Packers, because they just always figure out how to beat them. They just always beat them. This is what they do. So it's kind of like, this is not fair to be like, you can't be as confident about the Bears, because the Packers usually do figure out how to win this game. They just do. So I think the Bears kind of have to go take it.
Like 17 years, man.
They got to take it.
They got Hall of Famers back to back, man. Come on.
Where is it? It's in
Lambeau.
The first game's in Green Bay. Yeah, you got the Bears. This is a must. If they win this game. Yeah, they gotta win this game, because that will be the ultimate test of, like, do you really think you can beat the Packers? Come on, like, there's Packer fans that's gonna be walking in that say like, all right, cute story, like, all right, guys, we're at home, let's figure it out. If the Bears go in there, shock them like how they did the Eagles, then it's a different story. And that game you was talking about, I think in week 16, it says it's a Saturday night game, so that's gonna be even more electric, which is insane.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 12:20 it says.
Interesting.
7:20. That's what it says right here.
There's no way
that's the Christmas week.
It's not airing at midnight. Oh, it's Christmas. Oh, you're right.
Yeah,
oh, wow.
Yeah, it's airing 7:20 Central Time, so that'd be like 8:20 for us. But yeah, primetime game. That'd be nice.
Oh man.
Yeah, but like I said, it's that running game, man. Caleb does have to maybe have some explosive, but that running game, that's gonna keep you, man. And they got a two-headed monster, which is always nice to have.
Yep.
And I mean, to Zoo's point, I think the 7th-round guy, he might be their best bet. I think, but
Mononga,
we'll see. Yeah, I think he's their best bet to me. Swift's okay. But getting into our last phase of this podcast, we will be going into our NFL bets. Peebush, why don't you go ahead and start us off?
Man, tough one this past week. I picked A-Chain over Bijan, and that was the decision to be made. Some people played both. A-Chain did have a good game, but Bijan just had a really nice game. And so I had him in maybe 25% of my contests, so I only won in about 2 out of 8. So a slight in the red week. It's actually been one of my firsts in a while. But this week, it's a little tough. There's some really juicy matchups on paper. Like, you look at Josh Allen versus the Bengals. Come on, man. You're like, oh, that's an easy feast fest. Or you could go the James Cook route, which I know Derrick Henry did something to the Bengals, but that Bengals defense looked a lot different on Thanksgiving against that
inspired
team. Maybe it's the whole Trey Hendrickson situation. They're just not dealing with that energy right now. But I am going to lean playing Cook in this matchup over Josh Allen. I'll probably have one with him. I don't like to stack both of them together because they usually offset each other. Like, if Josh has a huge game, James isn't worth the price. He's still having a good game, but he's not, 3-4xing, which is what you need. So I'm leaning Cook here. Chase Brown, I kind of want to play the opposite side. I think they're playing down in this game in Buffalo. Chase Brown, if there's one thing you can't hate on him for, man, he gets those PPR points. He's catching at least 6-7 balls, especially there with Flacco for a few games. But I think, Burrow, that's when he was good with Burrow last year, was when they were using him in the passing game especially. So I like Chase Brown this week. And I'm triple RBing it. I'm actually going to go back with A-Chain against the New York Jets, man. He played them earlier this year. He was 20 for 99 rushing yards. Not a great game. But then they traded their best defensive tackle. So we just saw what Bijan did against this New York Jets team. I am going with A-Chain, so I'm paying up heavy for RBs this week. A couple other cheap ones you could play. If you want to play Kenneth Walker against Atlanta, by all means, good luck. Take that risk. Same with RJ Harvey against the Vegas, kind of a trap game for the game script potential. But yeah, going with the expensive RBs, which means I got to pay down a quarterback, man. And I'm actually going to do a Tyrod Taylor stack this week with AD Mitchell. I know it was one of the winning it was one of the winning lineups last week. And they're playing the Dolphins, and we were just talking about it. The Jets could just ruin their season, and they're coming off a win. And New York Jets, man, they haven't had many of those this year. They've only had 2. So I think Tyrod, he got a little juice, man. I think some of the young receivers they brought in, whether it be midseason or offseason with Mechie, AD Mitchell, Mason Taylor, I like as a rookie tight end as well. I think he could get a little shifty. And if you want to pay up for some stud dudes, you got to pay down at one position. And I'm going to choose a guy that could give you 20. It's kind of a poor man's Jacoby Brissett potential. And I'm going to stack him, like I said, with AD Mitchell. I'm going to go Alec Pierce versus the Jags. He has the last few weeks been the wide receiver 1 over Michael Pittman, really since their bye week. He's kind of a touchdown machine. He's due for a big play almost every single game, and he's only $5,000. He's kind of, like I said, him and Tyler Warren are probably warranting the most targets in this game. In a big game, like we were talking about earlier. We just talked about Christian Watson, playing him as well to round out the tight ends. And then I'm going with Brenton Strange as a kind of a bring back. I like that. I like the Jags-Colts game. I think you can do a lot with Trevor Lawrence there too. I actually would not mind a Trevor Lawrence stack just because he gets those 2-yard tush pushes pretty much. And he gets like 1 or 2 of those a game.
Nice.
Yep.
Oh, man. I'm sorry, man. But this year for spread picking, man. It's been the worst year of my life. Like, I think every pick's been wrong except for one pick. I think a couple of weeks ago, I think the Detroit, but they barely won that game. They were lucky to win that game for a comeback. So the Detroit Lions for me, that was lost to the Giants, man. Like, come on, man. It's so embarrassing. So embarrassing. Jameis got a freaking receipt.
That was all right. We didn't talk about that. That was one of the greatest football plays I've seen since Joe Flacco's, which I sent to Zoo. One of Joe Flacco's back in the day, man. That was crazy.
I still can't believe it, man. I was rooting for the Lions, but man, I was like, I can't shoot you. Let the Giants win. Let Jameis win this guy. That guy is playing out of his mind as a backup quarterback. Like, give that guy a starting job somewhere, man. All he is box office. He makes great
Vegas.
Plays. He's a funny guy, man. Jameis is a great guy, but yeah, after that, I'm like, my God, I completely misread the Lions. But I don't know, this Thursday night game, man, I'm pretty hyped about this game. Okay. Cowboys, Lions on Thursday night football. Like, these are 2 football teams. There's a lot of great players, and I see minus 354.5. I'm gonna switch it up with the spread. No more spread picking this year. I am banning myself from making spread picks because I'm allergic from prosperity this year. Absolutely allergic with the spread picking. So I'm banishing for the spread pick. Over-unders, over 54.5, man. Let's go for a shootout.
Over 54.5.
Yeah.
54.5.
Yeah. Wait, where is it? Where's the game? Is it at Detroit?
It's at Detroit. It's at Detroit.
Fast track.
You know Jared Goff at home. That guy is a different dude at home. So
Amon-Ra, that is big.
That is true. I give you that, but I think it's a big running back game with the boys with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. Like, those are going to be the guys going to carry the load for me personally. But for me personally, this Cowboys team, I have been so impressed post-trade. Like, post-trade, this is a different Cowboys team. Like, they completely changed the storyline of being a Swiss cheese defense into like just being a legitimately good defense now. And pretty much that's helped the offense get on the field more. And Dak Prescott is playing out of his mind. Like, just imagine back-to-back Super Bowl like champions, like in the Eagles and the Chiefs. Like these are some legitimately like amazing and impressive wins where he was going blow for blow with Mahomes and her. Like these are some elite teams that they beat. And Dak Prescott, obviously, I gotta talk about George of the Jungle. Like I gotta talk about George of the Jungle, George Pickens. He looks better than CeeDee Lamb. Like
he does.
Like objectively this year. Like his hands
by far
are ridiculous. Like I just don't see George Pickens drop the football ever, and he makes some ridiculous grabs. And when he gets the ball, his physicality, his agility, his playmaking ability, post catch, his yak ability, phenomenal. Like
that hurdle.
Yeah. Oh my God. Like he is just a special talent. I'm like, he is getting unleashed this year without the Pittsburgh Steelers holding him down. Because you look over at Pittsburgh, he's got more receiving yards than the entire Pittsburgh Steelers receiving corps. And they got rid of him for DK Metcalf. And I'm sorry, DK Metcalf might be a freak, but George Pickens is significantly better player than DK Metcalf. And they paid him an insane amount, like an absurd amount of money for DK to be the receiver one over there. While they had a receiver one, George Pickens, they just didn't unleash him. So like what he's doing is amazing. CeeDee Lamb, obviously, he's still a great talent, slot guy, but Dak Prescott with those guys, with Jake Ferg, I'm ready for the lights show right now for both these guys to show out right now. So come on, fantasy galore. Like this,
like that over.
This is what you call a fantasy galore type of game where blow for blow. I'm not rooting for much defense. I'm ready to see both quarterbacks just fling the football, get to the red zone, and cash it in because these are two really fun teams to watch. Like I've been really like this Cowboys team's been fun, really, really fun to watch this past couple of weeks right now. So this is one of those Thursday night games. I'm very looking forward to watching these games.
Yep, it ain't Jags Jets. I'll say that.
I have synergy with Zoo on the Dallas and Detroit, but I'm leaning towards for my 2-leg parlay. I'm leaning towards Dallas with the money line on this one. +3 says a lot, considering how most people would think the Detroit Lions have one of the more talented rosters. And Dallas, just perception-wise, even though post-trade, you could argue they got a really talented – they have one of the more talented rosters on both sides of the ball. +3 to me says a lot. It kind of shows me that they see what we all see with George Pickens. CD is still CD. Their running game is very solid. Their 2 interior tackles are elite. You know, the whatever linebacker they got running around, he's good. I guess you say their back end is serviceable. But I think just the offensive power of the Cowboys and the confidence of beating the Chiefs, I think they could go up to Detroit and beat them. And if that happens, we got to start having a real conversation about Dallas being a playoff sleeper. Like they would then move into my like Houston light category. Like if all things start clicking, you don't want to see them in the playoffs. Because the crazy thing about the Cowboys is, we know they hadn't got to a Super Bowl in so many years, but it's not because of a lack of talent. And sometimes in the NFL, it just feels like is it this team's year? Not saying Dallas is going to the Super Bowl, but it just feels like sometimes things just happen in weird ways. And that offense I think I just saw the stat, like Dak is second in touchdowns and second in passing yards. Like he's going off. Like we also might have to start, if Dak can get to a Super Bowl, win, lose, or draw, like we might have to start talking about him like Hall of Fame. Like he puts up insane numbers. Like his numbers are pretty crazy.
Let's take it easy now.
I'm projecting.
He's having a good year.
Let's let him get a playoff win.
Man.
We need a playoff win, Sean. Before
he don't have a playoff win.
Make it to the conference championship, man.
He might have 1 or 2. But I mean, like, I'm just saying for this year.
I just keep saying the only reason why and I don't want to say like he's like I would say he's a lock, but if you're telling me they signed George Pickens and he's got CD and George for the next, like it's a conversation if he can get to a Super Bowl. He has to get to a Super Bowl and at least play well. But like his stats, go look at his stats. His stats are pretty insane because he's just always like people forget. Like when he first came in, he was outside of his injuries. Dak hasn't really had a bad season. Like I would rather. This may sound crazy, but I'd rather have them. Eli Manning, he's got the 2 Super Bowl rings, but like. Dude, Dak, I think clears him.
Agreed.
Yeah. Eli's only getting in because of his last name. And he has 2 Super Bowl wins. Like, there's nothing about talent-wise that I'm like, well, that's a different argument.
He did play well.
He beat the GOAT twice.
And that's just circumstance.
That's circumstance. He did play well in those games.
Dude, and beating the GOAT, and he beat a potentially undefeated
matters.
team the second time it would ever have happened, and he knocked them off as a wild card team.
I
really
get why he's in Hall of Fame.
Like, he beat the Aaron Rodgers.
But I'm saying like that holds more merit than 2 5,000-yard passing seasons by far.
Dak is just maybe I shouldn't make the argument of like skill set. Dak is, and I know he's had help because he's had elite receivers, but it's like,
yes.
Before we get up, what is the difference between him and Joe Burrow? Joe Burrow has elite talent. What is the difference? They both get injured a lot, and they both put up crazy stats with crazy receivers.
O-line. Dak has always had a very good offensive line. I
think that's just better management from the Cowboys. Like
Joe Burrow's
I think the Dallas Cowboys are better front
better organization.
Which is crazy to say, but they're a better organization than that Bengals organization. That
Bengals are
was a disaster.
The Bengals. I'm not arguing organization. I just think skill set wise, it's like I don't see.
But that's why they don't have the same success. But Burrow made
Joe's cooler. I get it.
And Joe made a Super Bowl. He has made at least one run.
That's why I say if I think
he did it.
Yeah. And I didn't want to divulge it into that.
Hall of Fame.
I just was thinking about it. But just to finish up my spread picks, like Dallas, I think it has all the momentum. And speaking of Joe Burrow, +5.5. I really liked how they looked against the Ravens. The Bills, like we said, James Cook or bust.
Quarterback.
They could somehow corral James Cook. Am I banking on Keon Coleman and Dalton? I don't know, man. This is desperate times, like for Buffalo not Buffalo, but for the Bengals, because like nobody thinks they're getting into the playoffs, but weirder things can happen. So Joe looking how he did against that Ravens defense, which was improving. I like it. +235. That puts me at +677. You could, if you wanted to, if you just want to put the nail in the coffin with the Kansas City Chiefs, you could do Houston. It's +3.5 on the road.
You're getting greedy.
That puts you at +484. You could put 484. Not saying that you make that a 3-leg.
Chiefs too.
You could take out the if you don't like that, the one before, the Cincinnati Buffalo, you could take that out and put the Houston Texans one. The one I'm most confident in is Dallas. Like I just think Dallas is going to go up there and
I think they shut down Gibbs.
Compete with them. Yeah. Because their D tackles are serious. Like it's who is it? Clark and
Quinn and Williams.
Yeah, they're elite.
Yep.
So we'll see. But yeah, Dallas is my favorite on that one. So we'll see. And like I said, I should stop doing money line or spread picks. I've been awful all year, but we'll see. We'll see. So but that'll be it for this podcast. Make sure you guys tune into our page, Bullhead, or not Bullhead. That's a throwback. But Tyson Talks _ make sure you're tuned into that on our Instagram. Make sure you're on our YouTube, Quantrell Knows. Make sure when you're listening to our podcast on the Spotify, Apple, give us a 5-star review or give us a thumbs up, comment, give us engagement so we can be in the algorithms. And for me, Zoo, and P. Bush, we are out.